So this is a module that is part of a larger course that I created called Understanding Your Energy. The reason I created that course is because I was having a lot of clients who were what I would term emotionally porous. And by that, I mean they were finding themselves heavily influenced by environments and people around them and not really understanding why. uh, Not really having an understanding of how energy works and how what the interconnectedness is between energy of our personal energy and the energy of the larger environment around us. So I developed some practices and tools to help clients work through all of that. I go into a lot more detail about all of these things in the larger course, but for this purpose, for the purpose of Module 4, this mini course, I will be going into specifically how to protect your energy. Before I do that, I want to go into what energy is, and I tend to just use the word energy. However, I will say that the Western term is actually the biofield. And this was a term that was developed by the US National Institute of Health in 1992 in an effort to bring traditional understanding of energy of the body, energetic healing modalities, and modern science together. The biofield refers to the energetic field that surrounds and permeates all living organisms. It's often described as an electromagnetic field produced by the body's biological processes. Uh, these concepts aren't new. They are found in various cultural traditions, including traditional Chinese medicine, where it's referred to as qi, and Indian Ayurvedic practices, where it's referred to as prana. Again, there are many others, and that's in and of itself a course of its own, which I'm not going to go into here. But the biofield is thought to arise from the electromagnetic activity of cells, cells, organs, and the systems within the body. It serves as a way of the body communicating with itself and its surrounding environment. Studies have actually shown that the heart and brain generate electromagnetic fields that extend beyond the physical body. Interestingly, the heart's electromagnetic field is significantly stronger than the brain's. What I want the takeaway to be from that is the electromagnetic field, the biofield, doesn't end with our physical body. It extends much further out. And so if you apply that to all living things, then naturally our biofields are interacting, exchanging energy, and overlapping all the time, right? We're constantly being influenced by outside energy without even realizing it. Um, so the biofield is also influenced by our emotional states, with positive emotions creating more coherent frequencies. Why that's important is coherent frequencies are oftentimes referred to as being in alignment or aligned frequencies. And when we are in alignment, we are in a harmonious, balanced state. When we are in a harmonious, balanced state, that's when we are receiving positive energy, positive healing energy. So when an energetic healer, like a Reiki practitioner or an acupuncturist or acupressurist, focuses on positive intentions, as well as drawing in the universal life force energy for the client, they can actually change the chemistry in the cells of the client. The biofield is dynamic, so with energy is flowing in and out, and it reflects an individual's physical and emotional well-being. The biofield plays a crucial role in the integrative health practices, emphasizing the connection between mind, body, and spirit. So that's a brief overview of what the biofield is. Now let's get into how to protect our energy, how to protect our biofield, and why that's important. So when you understand that our energy is constantly interacting and receiving information from the larger world around us, that can influence our physical, emotional, and spiritual state, right? As well as impact the people and the environments around us. The status of people, so whether the environment is negative or positive, can have a direct effect on our mental and emotional health. The things like toxic work environments, actually toxic chemical filled environments, toxic media, and substance abuse all directly impact our own physical, mental, and spiritual biofield. When we are being heavily influenced in a negative way, we see that as a drain. We start experiencing lethargy, heaviness, stress. It shows up as fatigue, headaches, insomnia. It can create irritability, anxiety, mood swings, depression. It makes us want to withdraw from social activities altogether. It can show up as lack of motivation and severe procrastination. So all of these things, when they get compounded together, it's really hard on our physical body as well as our psyche, right? How do we shift that, right? When we can create more positive emotional, mental, and physical states, then we begin to have more emotional resiliency and mental clarity. We become motivated. We become proactive. Uh, we our bodies are healthier. They're more vital. Our relationships become more positive, and we are able to set effective, loving, supportive personal boundaries. Setting personal boundaries is key to protecting our energy. So, the first step in setting boundaries is identifying what you find draining. What makes you feel uncomfortable or heavy, or people have to really talk you into doing them, or when you go somewhere and you get done with whatever the event is, you're mentally thinking, why did I waste my time doing this? Make a list of all of those things. See if you can find patterns, right? See if you can determine what it is that is so difficult for you. Is it being around a lot of people? Is it being around loud environments? Is it being around a specific type of environment? So, like sporting events where people are getting really emotionally charged and there's loud music and there's lots of things going on around you. Um, or maybe it's excessively loud environments where like loud music is being played, or there are large crowds of people and the physical proximity is overlapping really close. You see if you can find the through threads and identify what those are. Once you're able to successfully see what it is that is consistently showing up as things that are draining for you, give yourself permission to say no. Give yourself permission. This is key. This is vital. Allow yourself to feel safe saying no, and understand that it's supportive of who you are and what you need, right? And then the final step, which I think you'll probably roll your eyes at, but it's actually a really good practice, is practicing establishing these boundaries with someone who you feel comfortable doing that with. So, a really good friend, a family member, somebody like that. Even if you are part of a specific religious group and have some form of clergy, doing it that way. If you're in therapy, absolutely working with a therapist on how to set boundaries is an excellent thing. Here are some examples that I've written. So when I first wrote these, it was right before like the traditional family gathering holidays. So I think I wrote this in like October. So it was right before Thanksgiving. But you can say things like, with friends, I'm feeling a little run down today. Can we schedule something for this weekend instead? I really want to be well rested and enjoy our plans. Or if you have a group of friends that are going to a loud like concert or gathering and you don't want to be around a whole lot of strangers, a whole lot of people, you'd say, how about I meet you guys afterwards? I really am not feeling up to being able to be in large crowds today, but I'd love to go get a coffee with everyone afterwards, or lunch or dinner, what have you. If it's with work, that can be tricky, right? But test it out. Write it down, and test it out, change the words around. What I do a lot of times is I'll just be really unfiltered and write down what I think, what I feel, without like really trying to filter my words or make it palatable for other people. So I can be really honest with myself and then start changing those words while sticking to my honesty and my integrity. So an example would be, I take pride in the work that I do. I'm concerned with the amount of work I am currently handling that I will not be able to be as thorough as I normally am if I take on this additional project. Something to that effect. And then finally, with family, you can say, again, start with yourself unfiltered, right? And writing out exactly honestly what you think and what you feel, and be as grumpy or irritated or honest with yourself as possible. And then you can shift those words around. But I always include, I love you, you're important to me, right? So that they hear that first. So I love you, and I can have a difference of opinion. Both things can be true. You are important to me, and I want to enjoy the time I spend with you and not argue. So let's make an agreement not to discuss sensitive subjects when we're together. It can feel hard and it can feel challenging, but this is boundary setting. And once you've set those boundaries in place, you are changing how you are showing up for yourself. You're already shifting the energy. The people that you are having to have these conversations with might feel hurt and might feel weird, uncomfortable, because you're changing the dynamic. But once you do it and you stick to it, that's the other key, is you have to stick to these boundaries. Once you've established them, you have to stay on top of them and you have to continue to enforce them. And it's gotten for me to the point where if I am not upholding a boundary, because it's not always 100% possible, I know immediately. I can tell, oh, I'm feeling drained, or I'm feeling taken advantage of, or I'm feeling uncomfortable because I didn't stick to my boundary. I allowed my boundaries to be crossed. And sometimes you have to reestablish that boundary and maybe rephrase it, or maybe state it a little bit stronger, but you can do it. So once you start really working on setting those boundaries, then we get back to, how do we support us? How do we support our mental, emotional, and physical space, right? And to do that, one of the most important pieces is learning how to clear your physical space. What is the space that I'm talking about? It can be just a dedicated space where you spend time doing meditation, contemplation practices, reflective practices, devotional practices, or it can be your room. It can be your house as a whole. Whatever space you feel you want to create the most energetically supportive environment that you possibly can. That's what this is for, clearing your physical space. Now, in a lot of practices, there are sacred spaces, right? And what is a sacred space? It refers to an area that is set aside for spiritual practice. So for reflection and connection, meditation, what have you, to whatever concept of a higher being, a divine being, whatever, or just your higher self. That is what's considered a sacred space. Once you've established what that space is, and I encourage everyone, whether you have a defined belief in a higher being, higher power, or not, creating a space for yourself where you can meditate and reflect, and connect in, is important. The way that I do that, this is a little bit getting off topic, but the way that I do that is you can get as creative as you want. There are no set rules or definitions of how it needs to look or what it should look like. Just think about what's important to you and creating a space that feels good to you. So whether it's using candles or electric candles, if you're not able to have candles burning in a space, using incense or hydrosols to change the smell of the space to something that is pleasing. Again, whatever that pleasing smell is for you. Creating a place that is comfortable. So is it someplace with a lot of pillows and blankets? I call my spot in the living room my nest. And also putting up pictures or having representations of things that are important. So of what you find beautiful, whatever that is. You can also fill your space with plants, crystals, anything like that. The sky is actually the limit. And it should be deeply personal to you. It can be indoors, it can be outdoors, it can be someplace that is outdoors but allows you to have privacy and quietness, whatever feels good. But now that you've established your space, back to clearing it or cleansing it. There are tons of different options, but I'm just focusing on 3 of the most common for the purposes of this little brief mini course. And those are using smoke bundles, hydrosols, and music. A note about smoke bundles before we get into them are I do not encourage or promote the use of white sage, Palo Santo, or sweetgrass. These are sacred plants that have been over-harvested and endangered uh, because of commercial demand. And they're actually used in sacred clothes practices of indigenous people and indigenous cultures. So unless you are part of that indigenous culture or have been initiated into that indigenous culture by people within that indigenous culture, it's not appropriate um, for white sage, palo santo, and sweetgrass to be used. There are others, but those are the three most common. So I just want to make that note. Alternatives would be to use rosemary or use lavender or rose petals. Um, I would encourage you, when using smoke, to make sure that they are not toxic to people or to animals. So things that might be non-toxic to humans could be toxic to animals. So you want to double check and make sure. The other note about using smoke is to make sure that the room or the house that you're doing the clearing of, that you have a window open so that the smoke has the ability to escape. That's very important. Also, not leaving something smoking unattended, obviously. Let's hope not, right? If you are not able to use smoke bundles because of roommates or people that you live with, or you're in a dorm or a hotel, then hydrosols are actually a really good alternative. Those can be purchased commercially, and again, they make rosemary hydrosols, lavender, rose hydrosols. There's a ton of different ones you can research. And also you can look at the different types of herbs and what their correspondences usually are. So if you're looking for something that promotes safety or comfort or protection, you can look up the different herbal correspondences to choose one that specifically promotes whatever your focus wants to be. And that's true for both smoke bundles and hydrosols. Playing music is another one that people don't usually think about, but it's actually a really good way to change the energetics of a space, of a room. You can use a bell. You can use a rattle. You can play music, whether it's just through headphones or through speakers if it doesn't bother the people around you. You can even make your own rattle. I don't know if you remember in preschool or when you were little, making rattles out of used toilet roll, uh, the cardboard toilet roll holder things. You can tape one end with a piece of paper over the hole and fill it with dried beans or uncooked rice, and then put paper over the other hole and shake that. There's your rattle. And you can also, when you do that, you can write specific intentions on the toilet paper roll. So you can write protection, joy, happiness. So like if you're doing something for the beginning of the new year, you can write, I call in for 2020, whatever, protection, happiness, wealth, abundance, joy, health, wellness for me and my family and all my living relatives. And as you shake that just adds to the intent, right? So there's some examples of how to clear your space. That's very important before we get into actually grounding, centering, and shielding, protecting yourself. So, what is grounding? Grounding is connecting your energy with the deep energy of the earth. We most commonly do this by placing our feet or our body on the ground. You can do this by actually going outside and putting your bare feet on the ground, connecting with the earth that way. Or if you're in an urban area or are many stories up in a building and can't do that, just visualize it by placing your feet on the floor. You really want to put your whole foot on the floor, and then or if you're sitting or laying down, you can, whatever parts of your body are connected with the floor or the ground, that's where you want to focus your attention, focus your energy, and really imagine connecting in with the earth's energy. In the grounding, centering, and shielding meditation that I've included with this little mini course bundle, I use the visualization of growing roots and connecting your roots into the earth energy. And sometimes that's all you need to do, right? Is connecting in with that earth energy and feeling the frequency, the vibration of earth energy. And that can be just enough, what you need to feel relaxed and change your energy at that time. Grounding is used to nourish grounding is used to nourish our energy with earth energy and to release energy that's not serving us back into the earth to be transmuted. So what I do is when I am connected in, when I have allowed my roots to connect with the earth energetic roots, I then will imagine releasing all of my negativity, all of my tension, all of my irritation, all of my frustration, whatever that negative energy that I'm holding, I imagine releasing that through my roots into the earth and letting it be taken away by the earth energy. You can also do this, it's real common to do it in the shower. You can imagine the water from the shower coming down over your head and through your energetic and physical body and sweeping the negative energies down through your feet and washing them away. And you can visualize them like as a black cloud or black smoke or black water going down the drain and released, right? So that's a way to cleanse your energy, to ground your energy, and change your energetic profile. Once you've effectively tapped into the earth energy and feel yourself grounded and connected in, then we go into what's called centering. Centering it's unique to each person, and it's basically finding your center of gravity, usually located somewhere in the torso. It can be as high up as the heart. It can be the solar plexus, the belly button, or the root, at the base of your spine. All of these, it can be anywhere in that part of your body. The way that you find it usually is you can, if you're sitting, just start rocking side to side and backwards and forwards and seeing where you feel your body physically shifting. If you're standing, you can put your feet a little bit further than hip distance apart. And you can just let your hands lie loosely at your side and kind of sway backwards and forwards and front and back and find where you feel your center of gravity, where you feel yourself rocking. And it's the seat of our inner knowing. It's where, when we tap into the grounding earth energies, it's kind of, for me, I imagine it as like returning home to myself, connecting into my inner knowing. So that is centering. And then once we have ground and centered, now we can shield. Shielding is, think of it as taking those boundaries that we've created and putting them into energetic terms, right? All different types of materials can be used to create a shield. So it's something that you visualize creating kind of a bubble, an energetic bubble around you. It can be a bubble. I've heard, like, imagine a bubble slowly growing out from your skin, growing out to just about, if you spread your arms out to either side of you, just past your longest finger, so your middle finger, right? And imagining that to create a bubble all the way around you and going about 2 or 3 feet under the earth, under your feet. So 2 or 3 feet above your head and below your feet, and creating an energetic bubble. You can do it with a crystal, like imagining yourself being inside of a crystal. You can imagine it being violet protective flame. You can imagine it being anything that you want it to be. So I've used tree branches, like a willow tree. You can do a waterfall. You can do an air bubble in water, a fire bubble. Let's see, trying to think if there's anything else I commonly use, but I think that's about it. You get the idea. Once you have created this protective shield around you, then you are ready to do whatever you need to do. So if it's going to the grocery store, or going to a concert, or going to a loud restaurant with lots of overwhelming voices and energy around you, you create this bubble, this shield to protect you as you move through other energies. And you also can imagine that you only allow positive energy to come into you, to break through your energetic field. At the end of the day, or at the end of whatever the event is that you're attending, you can then earth the energy. So earthing energy is like releasing the energy that is not yours, that you may have accidentally picked up or accidentally absorbed, and giving it back to the earth, so that you no longer carry it. So you can imagine pulling the energy that doesn't belong to you out through your hands, through your feet, and returning it to the elements, so that the earth or the elements can transmute that back into pure energy and flow where it's needed, or return it to the originator. And I always include for the highest good of everyone involved. And I usually will repeat that 3 times. You can imagine actually earthing the energy. So putting your feet or your hands on the earth and imagining that energy that doesn't belong to you to go back into the earth. You can hold your hands out and kind of cup them in front of you and balling the energy that doesn't belong to you up into the palm of your hands and having it cleansed by a visualization of fire, removing it from you. You can also wash it away by putting your hands underwater. You can do this like just going to the restroom and washing your hands. And it's kind of that same idea as the shower, right? Imagining whatever the energy that doesn't belong to you, washing from your hands down the drain and returning to the earth. You can also do it with wind. So you can imagine like a tornado, the force of a tornado energy or wind coming up and pulling the energy that isn't yours out of your hands and carrying it away. So that is earthing the energy. And again, this was designed to do with the grounding, centering, and shielding meditation that I've included, and also with the worksheets that I've included as well. So that is the end of our presentation. I am so thankful that you took the time to listen and follow along with me. If you would like more information on me or who I am, you're welcome to visit my website, which is kitmckillop.com. And I look forward to hearing how this landed with you. If you have any other questions or if you feel like something wasn't clear, please, please, please feel free to reach out to me. I will be happy to expand on any of this for you. Here is all of my contact information, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.